This week on Cartridge Quest, I try to seal the deal on a massive PlayStation collection from Facebook Marketplace, I find some great items at the thrift store, and I try to save up to add another N64 game to the collection. If you're new here, I'm collecting the top 100 N64 games of all time, but I can only use up to 10% of the profit I make flipping items on eBay. Last week, I picked up a copy of NHL 99 and Kirby 64, putting me at 57 N64 games, but setting me back to $25 in the game fund. All right, so got a couple quick things to pack today. Almost sold through all of these Switch games. I sold my last 2 copies of Red Dead Redemption today. So all I have left is those 2 copies, Hello Neighbor 2, which is amazing. And then 2 other quick little random things. On an offer, it was actually a repeat buyer. We sold a Lego set to someone last week, immediately got good feedback, and then they came back and bought another Lego set, which is awesome. It's called Lego Atlantis, just like a little ship. Sold that for $21 plus shipping. So I used to play this board game called Gloomhaven. It's super intense. I just don't have time for these types of games anymore. I got rid of that game a long time ago, but I kept these figures because I thought they were kind of cool. Decided to sell them. Yeah, I painted that myself. I'm very talented. I don't know if you know that about me. So yeah, I had fun putting this together and playing with it, but I don't know how much that costs to pay somebody to do for you, like through Etsy or I don't know, commission an artist to do that. But I imagine it's pretty expensive. So this person got a great deal on this. Is only $8 plus shipping for this little painted figure. And it was not worth my time. Like, this isn't something I would get into as like a business, because this took me, God, I mean, if I knew what I was doing, maybe it would take me like 20 minutes, but it took me like 2 hours to paint this thing. So yeah, happy to get a little bit of money back on that thing. So $8 for that. So if you missed it, go check out that video last week. I heard online that Target was having like a clearance, getting rid of a bunch of old Switch games, and went around to a bunch of Targets, but I hit one. And I bought a ton of stuff and ended up doing really well. I was worried that I was going to end up selling it kind of slow and getting caught in like a price war maybe. So I undercut a little bit, like $1. And they sold really fast, thankfully. And a couple $100 profit for like only a few hours work. So that was a huge win. And yeah, we're going to get these couple things packed up and ready to go. And we're off to the thrift. I found this electronic solitaire game from this company Radica, and for only $3, this is an instant buy. I've been making sure to check all of their boxed and sealed items recently. Now, most of it is junk from Amazon, but I found this package of sealed Brita water filters. They only wanted $6, and they sell fast on eBay, if they're new, of course, for $30 plus shipping. And I found another interesting item with their box stuff. I found this Lennox Christmas votive for $8. Now, it's not a huge come up or anything, but the sell-through rate is good, and I should be able to put about $10 in my pocket. Now, I've been trying to expand my knowledge a bit, and I've been taking some time recently to flip through the clothing racks. I did end up picking up this Peter Millar Performance quarter zip, and it was half off, so it was only $7. I also found this really nice Eddie Bauer puffer jacket for a great price. I was just about to put it in my cart, but unfortunately, there was a huge rip in the sleeve. Bummer. We also found this bag of random stuff with a Pikmin 4 Switch case inside. It does hold some resale value, but my daughter is a massive Pikmin fan. I have a Switch Lite we're saving for when she's old enough, and I think this will be a great accessory. And we decided to run over to a second thrift store today, one I don't normally go to. Again, broadening my horizons, and I'm glad I did because I very quickly found this Ralph Lauren Caldwell Hawaiian shirt, and after a bit of research, I discovered it's vintage and actually goes for some good money. I also found this Disney Cruise Lines Hawaiian shirt that also holds good value, and thanks to the 50% discount, both of these shirts were only $10 to pick up. I also found this boxed PlayStation 2 behind the counter on our way out, and again, since it was half off, it only cost us $45. I wish the box was in better condition. Honestly, I would consider keeping it, but this will end up being a great flip. Good afternoon. So today is Tuesday. We actually had a long weekend thanks to President's Day, and we're just packing up this weekend sales now. We sold 7 things this weekend. So up first, we sold these Reebok shin guards. So the pads sold for $10 plus shipping, all profit. We had nothing into those. We sold another bundle of G.I. Joe comic books. I think in this one, maybe we have like $4 or $5. And this one we sold for $20 plus shipping. We then sold a Lego set, so I actually need to break it down. So it is this Arctic Helicrane set. This set sold for $25 plus shipping. Next on the list, we've got these. I think I might have underpriced these a little bit. I couldn't find the exact model. It's these really nice Nike soccer cleats. They're just called Nike Mercurial Vapors. So I'm familiar with the Mercurial brand. I've heard of these. I was a soccer player back in the day. I remember like kids getting these when they were new and they looked really cool. I picked these up for like $6 at the thrift store the other day. I listed them for $50 free shipping and they sold within an hour. So that always kind of gets me a little bit nervous. Like, you know, hey, I got what I asked for, so it's a win no matter what. Was this worth way more than I thought? I found one other seller had it listed for $200, but it was sponsored. Again, no sales history for this model. So that's kind of why I priced it how I did. Maybe $50 was the perfect price and it was a good deal and someone bought it. If I list it for $60, you know, it's possible it sits there for 6 months. I don't really know. Yeah. So there you go. $50 free shipping. And I'm actually feeling a little bit nervous right now because we're going back and forth with somebody on Facebook Marketplace right now for like a ton of video game stuff. And they've got like Dino Crisis, they've got Splatterhouse on PS3, a bunch of really high-end stuff. And they know what they have, but we're offering to buy a ton from them and hoping we can get a good deal on it. I'm working on flexing that muscle, growing that muscle about, you know, not coming from a place of fear, like worried about missing out. Because what I've learned over the last year and a half-ish of doing this is even the stuff that you think is rare, it's actually super common. Like this stuff is everywhere. You know, there's some exceptions, of course, but like, you know, a PS3 game that's it's a $70 game. You know, this isn't some vintage Rolex that's worth 10 grand. And if you miss it, you're never going to see it again in your entire life. Like it's $70. You know, if you wanted to get one, you could just go get one. But anyway, we have messages out. It's like close to the finish line. So hopefully we'll get to head over there later today and pick up some really cool stuff that I can show you. But for now, we're just packing eBay sales. Next, these are kind of interesting. So I got 2 DVD VCR combos, both from Magnavox, and I paid $20 each. So they weren't cheap from the thrift store, but I knew the sell-through rate was good. I knew they held good value. I tested them the other day. Unfortunately, one of them didn't work. So I listed that one for $40 free shipping. And I tried to do a couple basic things to try and fix the one that didn't work. A couple basic things. I've actually managed to get some VCRs that didn't work working again. Of course, I'm going to try, but if not, happy to just, you know, sell it for parts. And the other one worked great. So VHSs and DVDs played on it great. Listed that one for $90 free shipping. They both sold within about 10 minutes to different people, which was crazy. So huge wins on those. And finally, last but not least, we sold a Game Boy player for the Nintendo GameCube. It has like an adapter that goes on the bottom of the console and it has a special disc, but this one was in great condition. It had everything with it and we sold it for $190 plus shipping. And that is the final sale of the day. Let's get this stuff packed up right now. And surprise, just got done with that Facebook Marketplace deal. We got it and it was for a great price. We got some very, very cool stuff today. So I'm going to head home, get everything laid out, and I'll show you what we picked up. All right, so I got everything laid out on the kitchen table here. It's actually the next day. So first I'm going to show you everything we grabbed to sell, things I don't necessarily want from my personal collection. And again, we're all in on this for $330. First up, we've got a PlayStation 1 console, and nothing's been tested yet, but he sent us videos of all this stuff working. And he was a collector himself, so I'll be shocked if this stuff isn't in good working condition. We have in the Victoria's Secret box, we have a PlayStation 2. Oh, and spoiler, we'll get to that in a second. So PS2 with all the cords, and then the PS3. Again, with all the cords and a controller. It is only one of the 2 USB models, so it's not one of the more desirable backwards compatible ones, but should be able to get about $60 for the PS3. Maybe conservatively, we'll say like $170 for selling the 3 consoles. So we're more than halfway there already. So that's great. So we'll start with the games that are a little less exciting. These are the PS3 and PS2 stuff that we are selling from this big bundle. Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe, Haze, Spider-Man 3, The Fight, GTA 5, a bunch of junk PS2 games. Got a bunch of PS1. We only had one Super Nintendo game, at least that he wanted to sell. So that should be $20 there. And a bunch of PS1 stuff that I'm not interested in keeping. So we've got Final Fantasy Anthology, a couple sports games, Tetris, Jeopardy, And then this one. So this is a bit of a wild ride here. So Dino Crisis. I would love to keep this. We have some problems. So when we agreed to make this deal, part of I think the reason that we got it over a couple of the other people that had reached out to him was we agreed to buy all of his stuff. He wanted 300 for everything. And then we added some extra stuff that we talked about once I got there. So he had a bunch of PS3 games that weren't listed, and the Super Mario World got added kind of at the last minute. But I went over with the intention of spending 300 for 3 bundles, PS1, PS2, PS3. The PS1 bundle was not a great price, $100 for that bundle. But buying it all together, it kind of works out. It was a fair price. Like, it'd be a market price getting Dino Crisis and the PS1. Here's the problem. And we knew this going into it. The Dino Crisis doesn't work. I don't have a disc resurfacer. It needs a resurfacing. It is very scratched. This was the unfortunate surprise. So it's got Tetris Plus back art. He's got the manual and the disc. Yeah, there you go. The disc is very scratched. There's that. That's the scratch that's probably stopping it from working. My local game store for a couple bucks will resurface a disc for you. I think it's like $3 to get a disc resurfaced. I've never actually done that because usually most games are not worth resurfacing, but this is an exception. I might end up getting reproduction back art and complete it for our own collection, because you're not going to get a better price than this. All right, now here's everything that we are keeping, and it's a nice stack. So we're keeping Siphon Filter. It's just one of those staples. I've never played it personally, but you always hear about it, and I don't yet have a copy. Very exciting. So my wife is a big survival horror fan. She's getting me into them, and they're fun to collect for just because they're kind of rare and hard to find. Copy of Cold Fear. Got a bunch of PS3 stuff. So we've got Injustice. A lot of these I rented back in the day and just never owned. Never played this, but saw. It's kind of a rarer one. These are all complete. I haven't pulled stickers off yet, but Soul Calibur 4 with Darth Vader. I rented this back in the day. I love the Soul Calibur series. Splatterhouse. We've got another rare one. So this was one that we have been on the lookout for. Again, for the right price. And awesome that this was in this bundle that we picked up. Prince of Persia, SSX, and a bunch of other low dollar value games. Oh, and I almost forgot one more thing. We have some PlayStation Move controllers. So those actually hold some good value. That's another about $40 for those 2 controllers. So even if we don't end up profiting exactly, even if we end up under a little bit, I think that's going to work out just fine, because we're adding some awesome titles that we've wanted for a little while into the collection for super, super cheap. So it's still going to work out either way. All right, I'm going to get this stuff moved down to the basement right now. So this isn't something we normally do, but there is an estate sale in town. It's Thursday morning. It's frigid. It's 20 degrees outside right now. We're going to go check it out. The curb is absolutely packed with cars, so there might be a line. I'm not really sure, but we're going to go check it out and see if we can find some stuff to flip for the Game Fund. Let's go. I would say 6 out of 10. It wasn't bad. We actually ended up buying a couple of things. We did a little bit of research on the listing, looking through some of the photos. All of the items that we identified was still there, and it was all really expensive. They had a Chewbacca Furby they go for about 40 on eBay. It was priced at 40. There was like a Microvision little handheld game that I think goes for 30 to 40 on eBay, and they had it marked at 35. So again, no profit in that. But we did end up getting a couple of good items. So we got very, very nice of him to say that the Bose didn't work. So I picked up this Bose sound system. He says it doesn't work because it doesn't have the remote. Again, even for parts, that means not working. They sell for $25 with a fast sell-through rate. So I'm happy to grab that. I'm probably going to see if I can find the remote. So that was a nice pickup. Very fair price on the CD player. So I found a Sony Discman. He only asked $5 for it. Honestly, that's better than I get at the thrift store sometimes. So that was great. We got this Rugrats viewfinder. We paid $10 for that. Yeah, very happy with that run. And we are heading home to get my wife to her work meeting on time because she stayed out later than she was supposed to. Ooh. So first, I've got this MMA sparring helmet. Picked this up for $1 at the thrift store, sold it for $8 plus shipping. So next up, I picked up this pair of Nike Air Max. Got these from a garage sale for $10, I believe, and sold it for $30 plus shipping. And last item today, kind of an interesting one. Pick up consoles from the thrift store, from garage sales, all kinds of places. And I've learned some basic repair stuff. I don't want to put too much time into fixing things up. I'm pretty limited in that sense. And if it's not a super high-end item, again, is it worth the time to learn how to fix something and maybe get an extra 10, 15 bucks out of it? You got to consider your time investment too. I buy a lot of Nintendo Wiis. I would say about 1 in 5 maybe have an issue. Maybe 1 in 3. That sounds probably a little more accurate. And I just listed a bunch of them on eBay. So I did a bundle of 7 Wiis that did not work. And I got $85 plus $20 shipping. So I'm not profiting on these, but I'm making my money back. So I'm going to call this a break even. And that's an important part of this, is making sure that my buy price is right, knowing that there is a chance, maybe it's 30%, maybe it's 25%, somewhere in that range, that it's not going to work, is going to need a repair that I can't do. This is going to be a tricky box to pack, but that's everything we sold today. Let's get this stuff out of here. And with that, we generated $211 in profit, putting $21 into the game fund. That gives us $46 to spend at the game store. I've also got this bin of random trade fodder, leftovers from various bundle deals that should help us grow that game fund. Let's go shopping. And today, I picked up a copy of Pokemon Puzzle League and Pokemon Stadium 2. This puts me at 59 out of my top 164 games. So I ended up getting $25 in trade credit from that bin I brought with me, minus the $85 in total I spent on those 2 games, puts me at negative $14 in the fund going into next week. At this point, most of the games left on my list are going to be harder to find in the wild. When I see a higher end title like what I found today, I have to grab it, even if that means going into the negative temporarily. So that means we just have to do more next week to catch back up. And with that, don't forget to subscribe to see what sells on eBay next and what awesome games I add to the collection. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.
How will this newly switched out Pokemon fare?